back to their prime kind of a move. On the other hand, yes, in terms of levels, I believe out of this 200-day moving average for Hindalco, which is I think around 400 or 395 mark, that could be a much better level to try and enter the stock, because it seems to be that many of these metal names, they tend to have a tendency of coming closer to 200 moving average, consolidate for some time, and then go through a process of a counter rally or a bounce back. So 200-day moving average just below the 400 mark should be a better level to average Hindalco.
All right, this one also is for you, Kunal, and this one is from Tarun, and he's saying he's bought Polycab at 25.80. He wants to know when should he average this counter. Polycab is the counter's name.
I think, as I said earlier, the 200-day moving average should be a good level to average, and that for Polycab is around 2020 2050 levels. The stock has a tendency of getting into periods of pauses. So those periods of pause and sideways or time correction could probably last for at least 3 to 6 months. So I would sense maybe not today, tomorrow, but over the next maybe a month or you could probably get the stock a bit more cheaper than current levels. 2050 could be a better level to average.
Okay. I'm coming to you, Vijay, on this next one. Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance. Chaitanya is wondering whether it's a good time to add these two from the perspective of 1 to 2 years. What would you say?
Well, I think that the kind of corrections we have seen in other stocks, banks, and other NBFCs, we haven't seen that much in Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance both. I would recommend that if you want to be into an NBFC, why not be with the top rung company HDFC? So HDFC, so to say, has corrected quite a bit, and I think that around these levels, somewhere around 2650 is a great level to get into a stock like HDFC, which is into housing finance business, which is one of the leading NBFCs. So if you compare apple to apple, I think that HDFC and HDFC Bank are in a better place than Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv both. And let me tell you, post corrections, it is always best to be with the leader. And I think that HDFC Bank, HDFC, they lead the pack and stay with the large caps. Although both Bajaj twins are large caps, but I think that they haven't corrected that much. As Kunal was already saying that these HDFC is near the 200-day moving average, while these are far away. The Bajaj twins are far away from the 200 DMA.
From Marion Portman, and this is on Bandhan Bank, and this is for you, Kunal. Marion is saying bought Bandhan Bank at 340 rupees per share 5 months ago for 1 year, but now only 7 months are left. What should I do? And can't accumulate more. So what should Marion do with Bandhan Bank? 340 was the level that Marion purchased this particular counter for 1 year.
In fact, if you look at the start of 2021 or end of 2020, Bandhan Bank has been a stock which has been making a pattern of lower highs and lower lows, which means that the last 10-11 months of the trend for Bandhan Bank has been of the stock to try and go into a sluggish kind of a downtrend. Now, for such kind of stocks to reverse their downtrend, you would need confirmations that the first major resistance is broken out. So that's around 400 mark for Bandhan Bank. Now, I would sense that, till the time the stock doesn't break past above 400 level, it would keep on, dragging and consistently making this pattern of lower highs and lower lows. So I would sense if you're looking for a recovery and assuming the markets get into a recovery phase, short-term recovery or, prolonged recovery, then large cap names like ICICI Bank and maybe even an Axis Bank or HDFC Bank could actually turn out to be much better bets. So I would suggest a switch from Bandhan Bank towards large cap names, given the kind of market circumstance and the underlying price theme for Bandhan Bank.
There seems to be similar views both on technicals and fundamentals. I'm coming to you, Vijay, though, on the fundamentals of NHPC and NTPC. Anish is wondering whether he can buy these stocks for the longer term. He hasn't specified what his time frame is, but I'm assuming he's going to hold for well more than a few years.
Well, ask me about NHPC. Now, there's an impending problem of water. There's a huge water shortage in this country. And this is national hydel power. So, I really doubt what kind of hydel power it can produce. There can be some asset monetization, yes. they can sell off some of their assets. I completely agree. But again, since the IPO in NHPC, almost 10-15 years have gone, the stock hasn't done much. So I think that it's a complete erosion of capital and time. So no point of being in NHPC. As far as NTPC is concerned, I still am bullish on that because it is still, thermal power is produced quite a bit in our country, and it is the largest thermal power producer. So around these levels, 125 or maybe below this, NTPC would be a good buy. So NTPC can be bought into. NHPC a strict no. And another stock I like is Power Grid. So Power Grid is also a very good dividend yielding stock. So Government of India company. So Power Grid and NTPC would be my choices in the power space.
BPCL. Is from Harsh, and he has 50 shares of BPCL, which he's purchased at 425 rupees per share. He's saying that he can hold on for only 6 months. So what are the crucial support and resistance levels? What about privatization? Kunal, I'm sure the latter part of the question is not what you would be able to answer about, but definitely what sort of a crucial support and resistance should Harsh look at for BPCL? He's already bought it at 425 rupees per share and has only 6 months as time horizon to hold it.
See, I think the first important support has been broken for BPCL. That was around the 400 mark. If you look at the charts, somewhere in May or April 2021, the stock bounced off from its 200-day moving average. That was almost a precise level of 400, where the stock bounced off from, made a high closer to 500 post that, and then consolidated for some more time. So this 400 was a critical support. The stock has already broken below that, major support for itself, which means that the trend for BPCL is on the downside. Now, if you have a very limited kind of a time horizon, you should ideally wait for the stock to break past above 400 levels. But in a market which is very sluggish, it's very difficult to anticipate when would the turnaround would happen. So you can probably expect and hope that the turnaround happens pretty quickly for BPCL. I think just about that 400 mark is where you should look to average it out further if the stock recovers pretty soon.
Vijay, this next stock is a small cap. ADF Foods is the name. It specializes in frozen foods. I was just looking through the details. It's gained about close to 80% over the last 1 year or so. It's under a little bit of pressure in trade today. We've got a viewer who is looking to add on dips, or he's wondering whether to add on dips. Bought at levels of 940. The stock is currently at 821. I believe this is Anish. What would your view be on this one?
Well, I think that technically speaking, because I look at a bit of technicals and charts also, there is there's a death cross which is recently made. So I'm not very comfortable with stocks which have in which a death cross is seen. Although I think that I would be a bit comfortable as far as the price to earning goes, 32 odd. But again, technically speaking, I'm not very comfortable with stocks which have just just seen a death cross happening. So I won't recommend a buy if somebody is buying afresh.
This one is also for you, Vijay, and this one is coming in from Chaitanya. Is it the right time to enter chemical space? If yes, suggest 2 good chemical names for the longer term that he can actually look to enter right now. Do you think it is time to enter into chemical space? We did see some sort of a correction come in also on those counters given the market correction. So does it? Do you think right time to enter? And also, if so, could you suggest some names for Chaitanya to look at?
Well, I think that whenever corrections happen, we are really not sure that whether we have hit the bottom. But seemingly, we have hit a bottom today. But I might be wrong, and we might see some more sell-off in the coming days. But yes, you can start nibbling into the 2 stocks in chemical space I like are UPL and BASF. So UPL somebody can get into around 690, and BASF, which is also below the 200-day moving average, can be nibbled into around 2600, 2650. So these are great companies. Both of them are stalwarts in their industry. So BASF being a multinational company and has a very strong product line. So BASF and UPL are my choices.
Okay. Kunal, coming to you on this next question, and it's not really related to any one stock, but I think a lot of people are asking this. Aarti says she's a senior citizen. She's asking whether the market crash. He's calling it a crash. The market, the downward trend that we've seen over the last few sessions, is it going to reverse or is it a durable downward trend?
Oh, well, a very, very tough one, Alex. But then I'll probably try and break it up into two different parts. One, of course, that the markets were extremely overheated. We have to accept this fact. It's not just that with the data point which emerged on Thursday, Friday of the new variant of the virus, but prior to that as well, the correction was sort of due for the index. Now, the mood of the correction got aggravated on Friday because of the sell-off and the kind of news flow which emerged over the second half of the previous week. But then those are the kind of elements where generally a panic gets triggered on the indices. We look at more statistic part because that tends to help us understand whether the markets have gone back into extreme. So what had happened for markets on Friday and today morning as well, at least till the first hour of trading, was that a huge number of indicators had gone back into oversold territories. So RSIs on the bank nifty had come back to single digits to just about the initial double digits. Put call ratio had come back to below 0.4 levels. In the Bollinger Bands, the 3 Sigma Bollinger Bands, which is a 99.7% percentile range, had gone below the markets had mini stocks had gone below the 3 Sigma band. So all of these factors indicates that as a short term or a near term bottom is definitely in place for our markets, given the fact that we may probably try and hold up today's low on the index. And we could probably build into a gradual recovery. But there is so much amount of news flow, etc., that it's going to be very difficult to categorize that a bottom is in place for a medium to long term. You have to take it step by step. Initially, you look at recovery. Vijay made a very classic point that when you're going to buy a stock, into a recovery phase, you have to buy large cap names first because that will help you protect your portfolios from significant kind of downtrend or reversal if that happens in market. So you have to take it phase by phase. Initially, short term wise, I believe that the markets would come back into a rally kind of a mode.
Okay, this one is from Lalita Kumari. She's bought around 40 shares of Axis Bank at 700 rupees per share for 1 year. What should I do now? Should I book loss or hold for a year? What targets can be achieved, Kunal? Axis Bank, definitely Lalita is worried about this particular counter. 40 shares purchased at 700 rupees per share. What should she do? Hold on to it or book losses, or what sort of a target can she look at?
I think you should hold on to it. As I said earlier, that the bank index has come back to oversold territories. ICICI Bank and Axis Bank are two top names. In fact, even HDFC Bank are the few top names from banking names which you should definitely look to buy or hold at current levels. So if you've bought at higher levels, I think this should be a classic opportunity for you to look to average.
Okay. Sunny points out that he's been away for a while because he's been keeping busy with his business, which is wedding photography, and he points out that it is picking up. We're glad to hear that, Sunny, and thanks so much for coming back with a query. This one's for you, Kunal. 400 shares, 400 units of Tata Communications, bought at levels of 1075. He's got a medium to long term view, and he's wondering if you can give him a target and whether he should maintain a trailing stop loss.
I think you should definitely look to hold on. It's been one of the silent performers from the Tata Group as well as from the tier to large cap names as such. Potentially, I believe if this rally extends and even increases for Tata Communications say over the next 1 to 2 years, then you could be looking at potentially the stock coming back towards even 1500 to 1700 kind of a range. So it depends on the time frame. If you can increase your time horizon to 1 year and 2 years kind of a time horizon, then I would expect 1500 to 1700 as a strong target range for Tata Communications.
Okay, this next query is coming in from Sri Ranga Sai, saying that he has Tata Power, average price of 78 rupees per share. Can I add more now or wait for further downside? He's a long-term investor. What's your take coming in on this one? Vijay, I'll come to you on this one. Tata Power, 78 rupees is what the buy price has been for Sri Ranga. He wants to know whether he should add more onto for this counter. He's a long-term investor. 78 is a great buy price for Tata Power given where the stock is. No doubt it's under pressure right now. What should he do? Stay put with it, or should he add some more?
Well, I think that he should hold on to his investment, number one. Secondly, if he wants to average, I think a great price to average would be around say 150, 160. It is still far, far away from 200 DMA and haven't even touched 50 DMA. So although all the pharma companies, banks, they are either near, or metals, they are either near to their 200 DMA or a bit far off. So I think that any stock which is still far away is into an overbought zone. So I think that he should hold on to his investment. Number one, it's a great company. So rest assured that you've done a good buying at a good level. And about averaging, I would say that just hold your horses for some time. And as I mentioned, other power stocks, Power Grid is a good buy. NTPC, if you want to diversify into other power companies, there is a great opportunity elsewhere as well. So Tata Power, yes, you should hold on to your investment, but do not average.
Specific number for the Nifty 50, and this one's for you, Vijay. We've got a viewer, Sudha, who's looking to add 5 lakh to her investments, and I believe she's a long-term investor, but she's wondering whether to wait for the Nifty to correct to maybe around 16,600 before she deploys, and she's looking to go into unlock trades. What would you suggest that she should do?
First of all, this unlock theme, there's a great cloud over it, because post this new variant, all the unlock themes are gone for a toss. Look at airlines, look at PVR, look at Thomas Cook and other companies which were related to the unlock theme. So I think that let the dust settle down. But again, if you want to invest 5 lakhs, I would recommend you can get into a stock like a Jindal Steel, which is below 200 DMA, and HDFC Bank, which is around 200 DMA. You can get into BASF, as I mentioned. You can buy a stock like NMDC, which we're going to soon see a demerger of Nagarnar steel plant from it. You can buy into a Vedanta, which looks good. Some of it in IT, I think TCS and HCL Tech are great companies to bite into around these levels. You can get also into a Tata Motors, because it has there was a gap which it had left open, gap up one day, and this Tata Motors gap is finished. So I think that Tata Motors looks good. SAIL looks excellent at 105 for a target of 150. So there are great companies, profitable companies, which are dividend yielding companies, which you can buy at these levels. And none of us can ever time the market or get a sense of where the bottom would be. But again, let me tell you, the market did go around 16,700 odd. So I think that if at all you are talking about 16,600, so it's 100 points on Nifty, not much gap, but I think that you can start nibbling into right away.
All right, and on that note, we'll kickstart with the rapid fire segment. First up, this one is for you, Kunal. Alkyl Amines Soumitra wants to know, can he look to buy at current levels? If so, what sort of a price should he look at buying at?
Yeah, it depends on the time frame, but if it's very, very short term, then I think you can look to buy at current levels and keep a target range closer to 3,300, 3,280 as a possible target range. But for that, keep a stop loss of 3110, 3105 on Alkyl Amines.
Okay, next one's ONGC. Kunal, this one's for you. We've got Swapan, who's got the stocks at an average of 107, and he's wondering whether to hold on. Should he do so?
Look to hold on to the stock. 107 is a good price. Near term wise, you can expect targets of 155, 160 back again for ONGC.
Okay, this one is for you, Vijay. Sapna wants to know, does it make sense to buy FMCG stocks like Colgate, Palmolive and HUL right now, and any levels that you can help with for either of the stocks?
Well, I think the Hindustan Lever, which is trading below 200 DMA, I think that you can start nibbling into. If you want to buy the stock for 100 rupees, you can probably invest 30-35 rupees right away. And as far as the other FMCG companies concerned, I think that Nestle is a better company to get into at this point of time. Technically and fundamentally, both Nestle has shown a lot of strength. And the other one is Britannia. So I think that Britannia, Nestle and Hindustan Lever, these are all top-ranked companies. So, if you want to get into these companies, these three look good.
Okay, Vijay, quick view on Aurobindo Pharma. We've got Nishi, who's bought at levels of 800. She's got a long-term view. Should she hold on?
Well, I think that hold with a stop loss of 620. Probably we might see some upside in this company. But yes, I was bearish on this since almost 900 odd. I don't think the stock has looked up since then. But keep a very strict stop loss with Oro. The best pick in pharma is Dr. Reddy's and Cipla for me. So Oro, I think you should hold with the stop loss, and if at all the stop loss hits, shift to Cipla.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in and for taking all the queries that you did answer, and in fact that lovely conversation we had earlier in the day on IndusInd Bank. To everyone who's tuned in and who's not had their queries answered, and there are quite a few of you, apologies, we really have done our best. We'll be back tomorrow with another query segment, so you can post again and we'll attempt again to take as many queries as we possibly can. We have to slip into a short break right now, but do stay tuned. We've got more on the other side.